Hello and welcome everybody to the episode of Podstrick, and I'm your host, Shwin, in episode 516. I'm joined, as always, at least always on a temporary basis, by Drew, aka Doug, aka Drug. Uh,
That's
Drew,
right.
Doug,
Drug
Drug, how you
baby.
doing?
I'm doing all right. It's not super hot here in Boston, Massachusetts. There was some rain, it kind of cooled things down. Um that's really it. That's all that's going on in Boston. Just waiting for the students to come back and ruin everything, those damn kids. But what about you? How's life?
Life is great. Life is better if you're Mikal Bridges than if you're Schwinny Poo.
That's just
And we
that's
will talk
right.
about that. We will talk about that. Before we do that, I do have to make the announcements. First, being that Strickland has a YouTube channel where you may be watching this podcast. If you are not done so already, please hit like, subscribe to the channel. Give us a like, leave us a comment. That'd be a huge help to us. Strickland also has merchandise, which you can find on our website at www.strick.land. There's a link to the merchandise store. There's all kinds of cool stuff on there, like t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, coffee mugs, water bottles, you name it, we got it. Strickland also has a Patreon, which you can subscribe to. There are a number of different tiers. There's a $6 tier that gets you access to Pod Strickland, this podcast that I host every Friday, normally with Prez. You also get access to Takes from Obvious Bozos, a podcast hosted by Drew Steele, aka Doug, along with Zach Ladder. And you get access to the Strickland Discord where the conversation never stops. There are further tiers. There's a $9 tier that gets you access to Strickland Roll, a pod that I host along with YC, where we rant and rave about the Knicks even more. You also get access to wonderful premium articles by Matthew Marino, one of the best in the business. And you get access to Strictly NFL, which you guessed is a podcast about the NFL that is hosted by Konstantin Metrikos and Desmond Novak. There are further tiers. There's a $15 tier, $30 tier, $50 tier, and a $100 tier. Those come with a variety of additional benefits, like listening in on pod recordings, merchandise discounts, even potentially co-hosting a podcast alongside yours truly one day, whether you choose to subscribe or not. None of this would be possible without you. So without further ado, let's get started. The Knicks finally re-signed Mikal Bridges last night, officially. 4 years, $150 million. He takes $6 million less over the duration of the contract than his maximum. I'm going to just say this. I think this is like weird. It's very bizarre seeing some of like the reactions either way to this. I am not going to praise Mikal Bridges for giving the Knicks a discount. I'm also not of the opinion that this contract is an egregious overpay. And actually, like, and also the discount that and I think it's fine to appreciate the discount he gave the Knicks without going overboard with it, because the discount could potentially help the Knicks stay under the second apron beyond this season, which obviously we know gives them more flexibility, to roster build, and that's pretty major. So I think those are things that are good. The deal itself, I just don't have a major reaction to it, because like this is kind of what I thought it was going to be. I thought if the Knicks were really like, if he was really kind of generous, maybe, or if he's really willing to help them play ball, I was thinking maybe they could get it down to like 4,140. But 4,150 is pretty much in line with what I expected. And to the people that are like, I can't believe he got this contract, I think he's going to be something like the 50th highest paid player in the league or something next season when the extension kicks in. It could end up being higher than that, obviously, based on where other contracts land at that point in time. And I just don't really have an issue with it. Like, I think if he gets to the open market, he probably could get more than that, and or he would just get that number. So I think it was good for the Knicks to get this done. I wasn't really ever concerned that they were going to get it done, and good for Mikal Bridges to lock in $150 million, because usually, if you have a chance to lock in $150 million, I've heard that's a good thing.
Yeah, I was just looking at, because a lot of it, when you think about like the salary number itself, the cap hold is just, it's so minuscule, like 33. And I think there's percentages, right? Probably like the 5%, 10% raises that go along with it. It's such a minuscule part of the cap. Here are just some players in like that next year for that 33, 32 to like 35, 36 range. Just for some context, there's Jalen Green. And I think it's safe to say I think I would prefer having Mikal Bridges over Jalen Green on my team. I think that's safe to say. Alperen Sengun, I think I always feel like I don't pronounce his name correctly, but like, he's in that category. That's pretty good. He's a good player ish. Drew Holiday, he's going to be making 34.8 million. I mean, Drew's very good. It would I don't know if I'm, Drew's probably in a vacuum better than Mikal, right? And then probably even for like the fit with this team, that could be it. But again, like it's not that big a deal. Jeremy Grant, I'm taking Mikal over Jeremy Grant. DeJounte Murray and Jordan Poole, again, I'm taking Mikal over those guys. So like, you see where I'm going with this. And then there's Tyler Hero. I'm definitely taking Mikal over Tyler Hero. And then it's basically you venture into like the Quickly extension, right? Like what the Raptors gave Emmanuel Quickly. And if you want to have would you rather have Quickly or Mikal on this team in like that second guard initiation role? I think you just have to also consider that you would also have RJ Barrett in over OG Anunoby. And would you rather have OG Anunoby on his salary or RJ Barrett on his salary? And I think everyone, maybe except for me, as you know, because I love RJ for irrational reasons, but like you're taking OG Anunoby, right? Like you're obviously taking OG over Barrett. And like, I don't know, like I don't see any issues with the extension and everything like that. It's going to be just fine. The big thing is going to be whether or not in like the 27 off season, right? Like is Towns going to accept the player option, or are they going to work out some sort of extension? And seeing how the team has been negotiating with everyone else, players have been like opting out. They've been renegotiating, and it does seem like at least this front office, given the fact that they were agents, they're trying to find the best possible way to make the players happy and work within the constraints of the salary cap rules. So I think like the team being like ran by like agents having the inside track in that sort of capacity, they're able to kind of like, all right, let's work with the players, because that's their bread and butter, is working with players, making sure they're getting the best deal possible. And Leon Rose and everyone has found a great way to be like, here's your best offer, like this is what we can give you, and kind of like working with guys. Like I don't know how anyone could actually be like genuinely upset. He wasn't going for 25 million. You know what I mean? Yeah. He wasn't going to make like Trey Murphy money or that type of shit. He wasn't going to make Josh Hart money. It wasn't going to happen.
I mean, Trey Murphy got what? I think he got like 5 years, 150, 160 million. So like, yes. It's and look, I think Trey Murphy is good, and I think there's a difference between if you think the Knicks overpaid to get Mikal Bridges, that's fine. I'm not. Mm-hmm. There's no point in debating that anymore, because it's over and people feel how they feel about it. So it's whatever. I don't. That's a separate conversation, and I don't think it plays into this. Once he's on your team, like, yeah, we can look at his season last year and be like, it wasn't as impactful as we wanted it to be. He needs to get to the rim more. He needs to like not be so anemic about getting to the rim and drawing contact the way he was last year, which is like a total career outlier. Like it's crazy. Yeah, we want him to shoot the above the break three better and all that. Like we can talk about all of that. At the end of the day, the guy played the most minutes in the league. I think he averaged the most minutes in the league, I should say. He fucking ran the most, literally ran the most in the league. I think he ran.
I think it's one of my favorite stats.
Yeah, like I think he ran like 20 miles more than anybody. I think that number 2 was Josh Hart. Like
I'll look this up just to double check. But yeah, that's one of my favorite stats.
He ran the most in the league. He probably defended the most ball screens in the league. He had the most drive stops in the league. Like I get, and I don't disagree with like you wanted more from him, but I also think his sheer workload, I still do not feel anybody, Knicks fans of other teams, which I wouldn't expect them to, media members, whatever, there's not an appreciation for the totality of his workload and what that put on his plate And the fact that through that, he still was like a good player. Like he was still a good player. He actually made, I mean, he weirdly, because he had a very funny season in the sense that like it did feel underwhelming a lot of times. But if you kind of like think through the big moments and the big games and the all these type of things throughout the course of the season, Mikal Bridges is involved in a lot of them. Like, right, he has a buzzer beating 3 in Portland. He has 2 fucking game sealing blocks basically against Boston. He goes crazy in that game 6 win. He had a really big second half in that game 6 win against Detroit. Like, you can kind of go through the course of the season and you're just like at 41 points on Christmas Day, right? Like, he has all of these kind of like high watermarks, but it didn't feel as steady as you wanted it to be. And I do think a lot of that had to do with the fact that, with how we ran everything under Tibbs, just didn't allow for some of these other guys, especially like if you're not Brunson and if you're not Cat, and even with Cat, it didn't feel like he was being prioritized. It just felt like everybody else was just kind of like figuring it out. And then, I wanted to go back to the thing you said about everybody, like the front office kind of gets these little concessions from players. The biggest thing there is like, even the guys they've traded, they've made sure to trade them. They've gotten them at least. I don't know if they've done it specifically, but they've gotten them to places that have been good for their careers. Like aside from somebody like Grimes, right? And he bounced around, and who the hell knows what's going to happen with him?
Grimes.
Yeah, but like who knows what's going to happen with him? But like just a small thing. Like look at Bojan Bogdanovic, right? They get him in the Grimes trade basically last year, and then they guarantee his money for this past season in which he didn't play a single second of NBA basketball. Nope. And like they basically got him paid to exist as a human trade exception for Mikal Bridges. But like, more specifically, right, we know Emmanuel Quickley goes to Toronto, a team that wanted him and paid him. Obi Toppin goes to Indiana, a team that wanted him, plays a brand of basketball that very, very much suits him, suits how he plays, and he gets a nice payday. Like you can go through this stuff and you'll find it. Like Shake Milton existed as a human trade exception also last year. He got paid. They had like 3 of these random guys that they used in the Cat trade that they got paid for a year basically. And like these are things that curry favor with agents. And if you scratch their back, they'll get you back. And then also like, this is where I do think Brunson matters. Like the fact that the best player on your team, like I'm not going to tell you Jalen Brunson took a discount last offseason because that's not what happened. But we all know that if he had waited one more year and like basically so waited till this offseason, he could have locked in a substantially higher, average annual yearly salary. He did not do that, right? He took the max that was available to him last year. And when you have that happening, and then like, and not just if you go back to even like Josh Hart, right? Josh Hart, when he came to New York that first offseason, he could have opted out. He could have opted out immediately. And instead, he worked with the team. He opts into the final year of his deal and then has the extension take on top of that. So like, you get these little concessions from these guys, and I think these are 2 of your leaders, really. And Brunson definitely, Josh Hart is a leader, but obviously not at the same level. When your franchise player is kind of operating with that, and then so you'll get these little concessions from players. And then at the end of the day, the other part of it is like, guess what, man? Yeah, could Mikal Bridges have waited another year and gotten more money? Yeah, sure, maybe. If you don't extend, a lot of these guys know, hey, you know what? If I don't extend, I'm going to get traded. And actually, I like being in New York, and I like winning. And we're doing a lot of winning so far. So this seems like a good place for me to be. These are not young guys who are trying to like make their name in the league. These are guys in the prime of their careers who, yes, of course, everybody wants to make fucking money in professional sports and in every walk of life. But
everywhere.
But you also want to be at the top of your profession and feel like you can win, right? And obviously in professional sports, the goal is to win championships. Like the Knicks now can credibly tell these guys like, hey, look, like if you take just $1.5 million less per year, Mikal, this is what this could do for our team. And that might help us win a championship in 2026, in 2027, whatever. And when you can point to those things, that's when you get those concessions. If the Knicks sucked and they traded for Mikal Bridges, not only would they 100% not get him to take any type of discount, he probably would want to either be traded again, or he would just play out his contract, and then even if you were to keep him, you're probably gonna have to give him a 5-year full fucking max or something like that. So it's just like, this is the advantage of a few things, right? Having a competent, well-run organization that has now put together a sustained period of successfully winning a lot, and then also having a franchise player like Jalen Brunson kind of set an example for the team, or for people on the team. Like, hey, like, nobody's saying to like take 50% less or something, but if you can do a little bit of a favor and help the team out, and like, that's kind of what we're doing here. And I think that matters. And I am curious, because actually, I mean, I don't know if people know this, but Cat is actually extension eligible this offseason. I do not expect him to get an extension this offseason. But I do think, given what we're seeing now with all these guys, right, like playing ball with the organization and kind of taking a little bit less to stay here and win and help the team win and all this shit, I do think there's a chance that next offseason comes around, and look, at that point, Karl-Anthony Towns would have 1 year guaranteed and then a player option. So he'd have one more year guaranteed in 2026, 27, and then he has a player option in 2027, 28. That player option is worth $61 million. Now, obviously, I think no matter how much you love Karl-Anthony Towns, we know that part of the reason the Knicks were able to trade for him, and why it made sense for them to trade for him, and why the fucking Wolves did not want to keep him, is the salary that he is on. It is an extremely high salary. I think there's a chance going into next offseason that the Knicks could be like, hey, you know what? You're really good. We enjoy having you here, but that's a really big number for us. And we know the ball is in your court on that. But if you decline that option, maybe we can work out an extension here that's like 3 years, $120 million. So are you taking a pay cut in that $61 million option year? Yes, you are. But I'm also giving you an additional $60 million in guaranteed salary. So effectively, it's like, if you were to opt in, the math is to make him whole, right? It would be like, okay, you can take that extension at that time. So we're giving you 3 years, $120 million, you decline the player option. So you got $120 million over those 3 years. Do you think, and do you want to take the chance that if you take that player option at the end of it, you will be able to find that $60 million over the next 2 years, that like you're not locking in right now? Maybe he does. It's very possible with where the cap is going. He's going to be like, yeah, I'm not, that's fine with me. I'll take that chance. But I do think, again, when you're winning and the team is good and you feel good about the organization, it's not an unreasonable conversation to have. I mean, it's exactly the conversation that Minnesota had with Rudy Gobert this offseason, right? Where he declined the last year of his contract, the option year or whatever. And then he locks in a 3-year, $90 million or $100 million, whatever the fuck it was, $100 million extension. And, I think that was last offseason, whatever the fuck he did it. So like, it was last offseason. So I just think like there's something to be that I think that will happen. I think something along those lines will occur. And will the Knicks be in the second apron in 2026, 27, or above the second apron in 2026, 27? Probably. I mean, if they bring back Mitchell Robinson, the odds are they would be. But I do think like the 2027-28 season, depending on how things are with Karl-Anthony Towns and where that negotiation lies and other moving pieces, I think there's a chance that they conduct that after a year. And then just final piece of the Mikal thing, just worth mentioning. He is trade eligible by this year's trade deadline. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that guarantees anything, but there's a reason why they wanted to get this extension done before August 5th. Because if he extends on August 5th, then he can be traded, or he cannot be traded rather, by the trade deadline. So getting it done on July 31st means he's trade eligible on January 31st, and I don't think that is insignificant.
Definitely not. I have the stats pulled up. There's only one NBA player this past year, who played over 3,000 minutes. And that was Mikal Bridges.
Right.
He played 3,036 minutes. The player who ran the most miles in the regular season was also Mikal Bridges. He ran 231 miles according to NBAstats.com. Second place is Tyler Hero at 213, and third place is Josh Hart at 211. So a man ran basically like an extra 20 miles compared to like the next two guys. Like that's a 3/4 of a marathon.
Yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot. He did a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, but yeah, I did want to mention the kind of Karl Anthony Towns piece of it because
it's important because like he's over 30 now. He's gonna have to make some choices. Like, does he want to maximize as much money he can make, or does he just want job security over the years? And that's something he's gonna have to do. And when you're unfortunately over 30, you start to realize you get hurt more. you may want more stability. You probably care more about, because say Mikal does it, like he's the Iron Man, but like if something happens, he goes in without an extension, that fucks up your money. If Towns does something like that, if he decides to accept it and he gets hurt, that fucks up his money. So just making sure that you have guaranteed money over the years is probably really important. At least to me, that's, again, like I'm unfortunately older than these guys, so I'm thinking like that as well. Like, would I prefer to have 3 years of guaranteed money or just maximize on 1 year? It's like I'm choosing the 3 years, right? Like that's what I'm doing. Like I'm choosing the 3 years. I have a guaranteed salary for 3 years. Again, I feel like it's a no-brainer.
And again, like, one, he's made a lot of money in his career. Two, he's from New York. Like he's talked about. I don't care what anybody fucking says publicly. Like I'm as confident as you could be that he had indicated Minnesota and Karl Anthony Towns had talked well prior to the actual date of the trade. And if he was going to get traded, he wanted to be on the New York Knicks. That was it. That was the only team he wanted to be on if he got traded. He obviously has a relationship with Leon Rose, right? That was his agent. He knows World Wide West since he was in high school and definitely since he went to Kentucky. Like this is as homey as it could possibly be for Karl Anthony Towns. And it seems, obviously, at least on the surface, and I don't know what there is to doubt about it, that he is a very well liked part of the team, right? Seems like he's on a good friendly basis with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and all these other guys. So I just think like I'm just expecting that next offseason, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
If the world still exists at that point in time, which who knows, maybe it won't.
Maybe it won't, but no, I'm with you. It's the hometown kid is playing for like his team. That matters to some people. That really does. I know it would matter for me, but like I know some people it doesn't. I know for me, if I had a chance to like finish up my career in the Knicks and have a career year, play with Jalen Brunson, have a great chance of winning a title, and I get to live in New York City, like to me, like that's no-brainer. But I know, I think we're just built different.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's good. I mean, what is there to say? Like, you get to live in New York City, you get to make a shit ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
They're obviously, like, I definitely think in the case of, I mean, not all these guys, it feels like they're benefiting from the fact that they're on a good Knicks team in terms of like their ability to make money off the court. So yeah, like it's and again, the management is also good, right? Like they have competent management. This is not an incompetent organization. So like in the past, we've seen players take advantage of the incompetent Knicks, which we will talk about later on this podcast. Of taking advantage of incompetent Knicks front offices to kind of like max out their own individual dollars. And then at the end of it, you're like, as a fan, you're like, wait, why are we paying Allen Houston $100 million? Why is that happening? Why are we maxing out this player? So like, this is different, right? You're making a lot of money, but I mean, and obviously because of the rising cap and the cap's always going up or whatever, the numbers are just bigger now. But you're getting guys, right, that are going to take less because it's like, hey, actually, I like being here. seems like we're winning. Seems like we could win for a while, and maybe we could even win it all.
Yeah.
Like I think like we should want to do this. So yeah, we'll see what happens in a year from now. But yeah, I mean, look, all in all, so far this offseason is going as expected. One final piece
Mhm.
of business to discuss. The Knicks seem to be finalizing a contract with Brendan O'Connor, who will be an assistant. He'll be joining the assistant coaching staff, but he will not be the associate head coach / lead assistant.
Oh,
Apparently, he is being brought in to be a defensive coordinator. He comes from the Clippers. He is well regarded. Ian Begley even tweeted out that he got a text from some kind of source, I think a Western Conference scout or executive or whatever,
scout.
that said this was the Knicks' best move of the offseason.